everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm obviously going to be starting another reading vlog. Let's just jump into talking about the couple of books that I want to read over the next week or so. Obviously, I'm continuing on my fall, spooky, or atmospheric, or whatever kind of reading. So I'm really excited about all of these, so let us chat about them. The first one I have is the continuation to a series, and that is The Ravenous Dead by Darcy Coates. I read The Whispering Dead last week, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm very intrigued to see where this series is going to go. I feel like the first book in the series didn't really advance the part of the plot that I was really curious about, so I'm quite interested to see if we're going to get more of that in this book. For whatever reason, I was thinking this series was finished. I thought it was a quartet, but alas, it is not. Because I think there's another book that either came out this year or is coming out this year, so I have no idea what the pacing of this series is going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be super drawn out or not, but we're going to find out. Well, I'm going to find out, and I will let you know, so definitely plan on reading this one. The next one is a book that I picked up in my last vlog, but I'm very, very excited to get to it, so I decided to read it this week, and that is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This is a retelling of the Brothers Grimm story, The Goose Girl, and I've just been seeing a lot of people read this recently, obviously because it is a new release and really enjoy it. So I've been wanting to jump into it myself. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the plot of this book is. I have no clue, but I'm just gonna jump into it. I'm gonna see what I think about it. I think it's kind of like a dark fairy tale. Well, it's Brothers Grimm, so obviously it's gonna be like a dark fairy tale retelling of sorts, and I'm really excited to see what I think of it. And then I'm also going to be continuing another series because I would really like to read The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, obviously this being the second book in the Lord of the Rings. I loved Fellowship when I read it. I gave it a 5-star on my reread, but I do remember The Two Towers being my favorite out of the three when I read them the first time, so I'm very interested to see if that is still the case. I don't know, honestly, but I'm going to be listening to this with the audiobook as well, narrated by Andy Serkis, because I really liked the one for Fellowship, so I'm really excited to get into this one. I also do just have big reading plans for this week in general because I am going to be doing my Patreon readathon at the end of this week. It's starting on Friday and it's going through Sunday, which I'm really excited about. It's called the Stamped Readathon. I made like little stamps that you can use when you like tick off a prompt for it, so I've very much been anticipating being able to do that, so obviously I want to do a lot of reading for that as well. And some of these books I'm going to be, you know, like reading this weekend, so we'll just kind of see what's up. Aside from that, honestly, I don't really have a lot of plans for the week. I might work on my puzzle, like my little autumn Brambly Hedge puzzle. I kind of want to maybe listen to the audiobook for The Two Towers only for a little bit and try it that way, and I can work on my puzzle while I do that. So we'll see how that goes, or maybe I'll read something different. I don't know. We will just have to find out, honestly. So let us just get into the vlog. I'm thinking the first book that I want to start out with is A Sorceress Comes to Call, just because I really, really want to get into this one. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this morning. I might also update my Hobonichi this morning because it is the start of a new week. Well, it's like Tuesday, but it's basically the start of a new week. And I need to do my spread for last week, so I'm probably gonna do that today, but those are my only plans. So let us get into the vlog. I really hope you guys enjoy, and let's go. Alright, so it is currently Thursday morning, but I'm here with a couple of reading updates for you because I did do quite a bit of reading yesterday. First of all, let's talk about A Sorceress Comes to Call. Solid rhyme. I'm about 2/3 of the way through this book. I just made it up to page 200, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this one so far. I feel like this has potential to be my favorite T. Kingfisher book I've read so far, because the story is just right off the bat really engaging, and I feel like it really pulls you in, it makes you sympathize with our characters, and I'm really excited to see how this book is going to end. So basically in this book we are following our main character Cordelia, who lives with her mother, and her mother is awful. Like, she's a terrible person. She treats everybody around her like crap, including Cordelia, and she definitely gives me major, like, Mother from Tangled kind of vibes. I've never read the original, like, Rapunzel story, so I don't know how that checks out. But, like, the Rapunzel movie, definitely Mother Gothel vibes, because she's like, I'm just doing what's best for my daughter. And, like, there are no secrets between us. You don't have to hide anything from us. But, like, under the surface, she is the most evil and vile woman you have ever met. But she's just so infuriating because she's so nice about, like, everything she does, but, like, they're awful acts. But also, I do sometimes feel like those are the best kind of villains. Like, they just get under your skin like no other. Like, they're not just outwardly evil and they know it. Like, they're putting on this facade, even though you know they suck. And it grinds my gears. But just, like, immediately off the bat, when Cordelia was kind of, like, explaining the things that her mother does, you just feel so bad for her and you root for her so much within, like, the first, like, couple of pages, honestly. But you open up on this scene of her in church with her mother, and you kind of find out that her mother is a sorceress, and you find out that she can control Cordelia. Cordelia kind of calls it, like, being made obedient, but it's basically where her mother can, like, take control of her body and make her do whatever she wants, and it just, oh, it sounds so awful. In the very first scene, she's sitting in a pew at church, and there's this, like, fly crawling on her hand, and she can, like, feel it. She can feel its little, like, legs walking around, which sounds gross. But because her mother has, like, taken control of her body, Cordelia can't do anything about this. So she's just, like freaking out in her own skin, but, like, outwardly she's not displaying any emotion, and that just sounds like the most frustrating thing ever. But there's so many other instances where her mother is just being the worst. Like, Cordelia is not allowed to close any of the doors in their house, which is, like, as a 14-year-old girl, to not be able to have any privacy. And her mother is just like, oh, there are no secrets between us. I've seen it all before. I'm like, no. Stop being gross and stop making your child feel unsafe in her own home. But as we progress into the book, we kind of find out that Evangeline's sugar daddy, for lack of a better term. I know there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it is. But basically it's just a man that she frequently visited and came back with all these jewels and all these riches, but one day he's like, no, can't do this anymore. I'm pretty sure he had a wife, but, you know, she lost her provider, so now she is kind of, like, on this mission to find a man to marry so she can be wealthy, basically. So they end up going to the house of this guy who she is, you know, trying to, like, ensnare in her trap, basically. And this guy has a sister who lives with him, whose name is Hester. I love Hester because right off the bat, she kind of realized that something really weird was going on with Cordelia. Like, she was always scared when her mother would walk into the room. She would, like, act weird sometimes, like, very out of character. So Hester, you know, like, started talking to her more and has kind of provided Cordelia with an older female figure in her life that she can talk to about things without being, like, terrified that she's gonna say the wrong thing. But the longer and longer they are staying in this house, the more Hester realizes that Cordelia's mother sucks and she needs to be stopped. So they're kind of hatching a plan right now to take Evangeline down, which will be very satisfying when I assume it actually happens, because you just spend the whole book just, like, absolutely outraged at the things that this woman is doing to her daughter, that she deserves some comeuppance. And I cannot wait. I will be eating it up when she gets what she deserves. So I'm just really liking this overall. I really like the characters, and I enjoy seeing Cordelia, you know, in this new environment, kind of being able to take back some control in her life. I also really enjoy Hester lending a helping hand to Cordelia, while also being able to learn a little bit more about Hester's backstory. You also get introduced to some friends of Hester's at one point, and I just feel like a lot of the conversations they have are really interesting. I think this book is kind of, you know, historical feeling in nature. It has a lot of those typical societal limits that are put on women, and kind of hearing her and her friends chat about those and discuss them, I've just been really enjoying. Also, even though I hate her, I do really enjoy Evangeline as a villain. Like, she is just getting progressively worse and worse and worse, or at least you're seeing her get worse and worse. Maybe she's always been like this. She probably has. But kind of seeing her devolve into this just like evil, spiteful woman, you're just so excited to see how the story's gonna end up. I also just really like the vibe of this. This definitely does feel like very fairy tale-esque, which I enjoy a lot. And I'm just having a good time. So I'm really happy that I decided to randomly pick this up from half price last week. Initially, I don't know if I was even planning on reading this book. It was like vaguely in my mind as like a maybe sometime read, but I'm glad that I decided to pick this up now, because I feel like even though this isn't like a scary horror kind of book, it definitely does fit like the dark fairy tale kind of vibe that I think is perfect for right now. So I cannot wait to read the last like 120 pages or so of this. I will definitely be doing that today, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. I feel like I just spent an eternity talking about that. So let's move on to the other book that I started, which was The Ravenous Dead by Darcy Coates. I am not super far into this one. I'm on page 82, but I'm really enjoying this one as well. I have grown to really enjoy these characters, and kind of seeing their dynamic develop even a little bit has been nice. I mean, they've only known each other for like a week. The book brought up the fact that Kiera like woke up in the woods like a week ago. I was like, I feel like it was so much longer than that. But okay, but I really like the kind of trio that we're following, because you have Kiera and then her friend Zoe, who is like really into conspiracy theories, which I think is really fun. And then her other friend Mason, who is like a med school dropout, but he still acts as like a doctor kind of caretaker of her when she gets hurt. I'm definitely feeling the romance vibes going on there, which I would not be mad at. Like, I didn't go into this series expecting to be a romance. I don't need a romance, but if it's there and I'm kind of vibing with it, then that is cool with me. But if you guys missed it, in my last video, I read the first book in this series, and it basically follows the main character Kiera, who wakes up in the middle of the woods at the very beginning of the book, and she has no memories of her past. But she quickly finds out that she can talk to ghosts, so the entirety of the series, I'm assuming, I mean, I've only read the one book and like 80 pages of this, but I'm assuming the series is going to kind of follow her as she figures out why do a lot of things, you know. But I believe the series is also going to focus on her helping ghosts move on to the afterlife. The first one kind of picked a ghost that she was like trying to help. It went into the backstory of that ghost a little bit, and you're just kind of following Kiera as she is trying to help the ghost move on. And this book is kind of doing the same thing. In the first couple of pages or so, she meets a new ghost in the cemetery who is very creepy looking, honestly. She describes the ghost as like not having a face. It's like just a black void where this ghost's features should be, which is terrifying. But she can't figure out anything about this ghost. He's been standing by a grave, but there's no name on the grave, and like nobody knows who this guy is. So I think we're gonna follow her as she like tries to figure that out. But also, there's this like other ghost that she met who's like an evil ghost, you know? Like the rest of the ghosts, they're kind of neutral. I wouldn't say they're like good, but they're not like out to hurt Kiera, you know? But she has this encounter with a ghost who is like actively trying to hurt her. And she like does a little bit of digging, and she finds out that this ghost was a serial killer, which is on the back of the book, so like that's not a spoiler. But I just want to know like what's going on in this town. This series takes place in this small town called Blighty, I think it's called. And it is a weird little town, honestly, but I love it. There's just so many strange happenings already, and I'm very excited to see more of the strange happenings that are going to go on. I also just love the vibe of this town because it's really small. Like everybody knows everybody. There are a couple of like very interesting characters throughout the town, and it's always like foggy and misty and rainy, and I'm eating it up. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's not like gonna be a new favorite series, but I definitely know that I plan to read the other books in the series. I'm pretty sure there are 5 out at this point. I don't know how long it's supposed to be. I don't know if 5's it. If you guys know, I'd love to know. Please let me know. But so far I'm having a really good time with this series, and I definitely plan on reading a lot of this today as well. Honestly, I don't know if I want to put this out there. I might try and finish both of these books today. I'd like to finish them before my readathon starts tomorrow so I can like start fresh. I could also save this one so I can finish a book early in the readathon. I'm not sure, but like this would fit one of my prompts. I don't know. I'll just kind of see with this one, but I do definitely plan on finishing this one up today, so we'll give you thoughts on that later. So I definitely just did a lot of talking, but those are all the updates that I have for now. I did start working on my puzzle a little bit yesterday, so I think I'm gonna do a little bit more of that today. I am thinking I want to listen to an audiobook while I do that, and I'm thinking I might get back into reading the X-Hex a little bit as well, because I need an audiobook. And this is like such a fast read. I am further in than this bookmark is. I'm probably like halfway through it now. I've just been like slowly reading it over the last month or so, which has been really nice actually. I'm liking that a lot. So I'll probably listen to my audiobook for this. I don't know why I'm holding that. I'm not gonna read that. and I'll finish this. So I'm gonna work on my puzzle and I will probably update you guys tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Okay, hello, good morning. It is Saturday morning and it's like 8 in the morning, but here I am. Yeah, anyway, I do have reading updates for you though, because I have finished 3 books since the last time I talked to you, which I promise is not as crazy as it sounds. Also, I did do a little bit of sewing yesterday, which is very fun. I made another book sleeve. I don't know where it went. I made a book sleeve a couple of months ago that was like very Halloween-esque, and then I bought this fabric from Joann's a while ago, and I've been meaning to make a book sleeve out of it because I think it's so cute. Like, look at it. I love the fabric. Here it is. It's like upside down on the back, but we don't have to talk about it. But yeah, I really wanted to try making another one, and this time I wanted to try making it completely myself, because the other one I got a lot of help from my mom on, but I wanted to do everything myself this time. But I wouldn't say I'm like the best seamstress, but I think this looks pretty decent, aside from the fact that the sides don't match up right here, but that's fine. It has like a little gingham inside to it, so I do like how this turned out. And honestly, this is all possible thanks to the lovely sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. So thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. If you guys don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community full of thousands of different classes that you can possibly take that are led by professionals. Also, now that we are moving into the more cozy and relaxed times of year, it is kind of perfect to maybe pick up a new hobby to try out or to improve a skill that you may already have. Like I said, I have used Skillshare recently to improve my sewing skills a little bit. And to kind of help me on my sewing journey, I decided to check out Foundational Sewing Skills, Sew a Zippered Bag from Scratch by Robin Burgess. This was obviously perfect for a beginner such as myself. I have very, very limited sewing knowledge, so to have somebody go through how to use the machine, how to press the project afterwards. She also went over how to put a zipper in something, which is certainly something I've never done before. Also, the class project that is within this class is very similar to what I was already trying to do, so it was kind of perfect. Robin Burgess also has a bunch of other really cool sewing classes that go more into how to make your own clothing, which definitely sounds really fun. But if sewing doesn't necessarily interest you, they do have so many other classes that you could check out. Also, since we are still kind of in that back to school kind of period, it is kind of the perfect time to learn something new. They have so many classes in areas such as art and illustration, photography and DIY, and they've recently added some classes about creative careers and creative inspiration. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I do have a special offer from Skillshare. The first 500 people that click the link in my description will get their first month of Skillshare for free. So thank you so much to Skillshare for supporting me and my channel, and to you guys watching this as well for always supporting me and my channel. I truly appreciate you all more than you could ever possibly know. You guys are great, so thank you so much. But with that, shall we get into my plethora of reading updates. I think so. So the first thing that I finished up was a couple days ago because I did read the last bit of A Sorceress Comes to Call, and I think this is definitely my favorite T. Kingfisher book that I've read so far. I feel like it has the perfect blend of, you know, a fairy tale, fantasy-esque kind of story with those darker, more horror-leaning elements, and I just thought it was really cool. I also think the reason I really like this one is the fact that it's a little bit longer than a lot of the other T. Kingfisher books I've read. I'm pretty sure I've only really read novellas from her. Also, Nettle and Bone was a bit longer, but it still felt very short. But this definitely felt like a complete novel. I feel like getting that extra time with the characters and being able to kind of witness the dynamic that was formed between the small group of people that we ended up following was really valuable for me to like connect to the characters and really enjoy the story overall. I'm a very character-driven reader, and I feel like a lot of the times, like novella-length stories, I'll enjoy them, but I won't fully enjoy them because how do you flesh out a bunch of people in a novella, you know? So that really helped a lot. I also really enjoyed the characters that we were following overall. Like, obviously you can flesh out the characters as much as you want, but if you don't like the characters, that's not good. But I did really enjoy these characters. I liked Cordelia's character and kind of seeing her be able to have some agency at all in her own life as the book progressed, because her mother became more and more busy with like trying to snag a husband basically, and kind of left Cordelia to her own devices at times. So seeing Cordelia be able to just like relax, have time to herself, not having her mother looking over her shoulder every 5 seconds, I just thought was really nice for her. I also really enjoyed Hester as a character we were following as well. I feel like she was very funny, but you could tell that she really started to care for Cordelia, which was just so nice. So overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this. Favorite T. Kingfisher book, still not my 5-star T. Kingfisher though. I believe it is out there. I just feel like it's out there because I've enjoyed so many of her stories, but like not a one has been a 5-star yet. I'm thinking I probably need to start reading longer books from T. Kingfisher. I feel like maybe that's my issue, that I keep reading shorter books from her. I know I really want to read Sword Heart soon. I also really want to read like the Paladin, whatever series Paladin's Grace is a part of. I know I want to check that one out too. I think those are more like fantasy romance leaning, which definitely seem in my wheelhouse. So I want to try those out. I feel like those definitely have potential. So I finished that one. Then, as I said, yesterday was the first day of my weekend readathon with my patrons, but we started off with some sprints and I finished my first book for that readathon, which was The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. As I said earlier, I was doing a reread of this. I was just listening to the audiobook while I was putting together my spread for the readathon, which let me show you. I got too many things on my desk right now. So here's how that turned out. I really like it. It took me honestly way too long. Like I stewed over how to do this spread for too long, but I like that. And I also really enjoyed my reread of The X-Hex. I won't go into it again because I do know I talk about this all the time, but I enjoyed it. It was great. It's honestly not Halloween until I've read The X-Hex because this is the perfect Halloween rom-com. Fight me on it. Honestly, if you don't like it, that's a valid opinion, but it does make me kind of sad. But it's just kind of silly, kind of goofy. I really like the romance. I really like the talking cat, Mr. Percival. He is an icon, truly. So I just always enjoy my reread of The X-Hex. And then I decided to do another reread. I didn't realize how many rereads I was doing in this vlog until I like sat down and really thought about it. But I also decided to reread Fangs by Sarah Anderson. This is, if you don't know, which you definitely should because you need to read this if you like spooky things. This is a little graphic novel that chronicles kind of the love story between a vampire and a werewolf. It's really just told in like a bunch of different little comics. There's not really an overarching plot or anything. You're kind of just getting like small funny things that happen in their relationship. Like, let me show you a good page, you know? Oh, the Halloween page is my favorite. It's so cute. So those are the 3 books that I finished since the last time I talked to you. See, like one of them I was halfway through, one of them was a graphic novel. So it's not crazy, but I do have some reading plans for today, which should be pretty nice. Let me set these down. Because last night I did start listening to the audiobook for The Two Towers. I was working on my puzzle, which my puzzle is going well so far. Thank you for asking. I don't know, I think I told you guys, it's like the Brambley Hedge puzzle. It's so cute and it's really fun to put together because they're like little squares of like scenes from this like autumn story. So they're kind of like mini puzzles on the puzzle, and I find it to be a more manageable kind of like 1,000 piece puzzle because sometimes 1,000 piece puzzles are overwhelming. Like I feel like I can fly through a 500 piece puzzle in like a day if I'm really, you know, focused, if I got my audiobook going, if I'm ready, but like Sometimes 1,000-piece puzzles drag a little bit too much, but I feel like this one's really manageable. It's also got like little chunks of text on it, so like those are really easy to piece together as well, and they're just fun to put together. But I listened to The X-Hex the other day, and then yesterday I started... Oh, I've not been looking at the illustrations for this. Yesterday I started The Two Towers, listening to the audiobook narrated by Andy Serkis, and I think that's probably how I'm going to continue to consume this book for the time being. Although I might do a bit of physical reading this morning, because it is kind of dark in there in the morning, and I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know. But I have made it, you know, a little bit of the way into The Two Towers. I'm on page 460 because the page count like continues on from the first one. So I think I'm not very far into it. I know that much. So I'm like 45 pages into it so far. And book 3 of Lord of the Rings doesn't focus on Frodo and Sam. This is when we're kind of focusing on the rest of the Fellowship, basically. Which I have always just thought is such an interesting choice to have like one part of this book not feature like the main characters at all. But I do also really like that because you get to see those characters a little bit more, because even in the scenes where they are all together and you do kind of get like more of a focus on the other characters, it's still about Frodo and the ring, because that's the point of the series. So it's kind of nice to see them on their own. I really enjoy the kind of dynamic between Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. I think it's really fun. But yeah, I'm just enjoying listening to this via audio. I feel like Tolkien has a very, you know, just like nice writing style that sounds really good when it's read aloud. So I'm enjoying that as well. So I definitely plan to work on a lot of my puzzle today. I might try and finish it up this afternoon while I just continue to listen to this. I don't know if I'm gonna finish The Two Towers in this video, honestly, because even though it is kind of short, it's also kind of long. So I'm just gonna listen to as much of this as I can, but I am really enjoying it. But then I do have another book that I want to read today, which is, again, like very low commitment because it's just a graphic novel. Because I want to reread Garlic and the Vampire because I love Garlic and the Vampire. It's so cute. I will tell you more about this like when I finished it, but it's just another graphic novel, very autumnal vibes. Doing a bad job at flipping through this, but look at that. I love Garlic and the Vampire. It's definitely vying for like #1 favorite graphic novel spot at this point. So obviously I want to do a reread and see if that's the case. We'll keep you updated on that. And then I did make like a little bit of progress in the Ravenous Dead. I'm on page 142 now. And we are now finally getting some action when it comes to figuring out like Kiera's past at all, which I've really been enjoying so far. There was like a scene last night that was very thrilling. I was kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit to see what was gonna happen, so that was really fun. So I really like the kind of horror thriller blend kind of thing that's going on in this series, because I wouldn't call it a thriller and I wouldn't really call it a horror book either, but I feel like it, you know, does a little bit of each of those in its own way, which I'm really enjoying. But I will give you like more proper thoughts when I finish this. I might finish this up today. I don't know, I'm like halfway through it, so that seems kind of doable. But this is also a reading plan that I have for today. So those are all my book updates. A lot of things going on, but like 2 of them are graphic novels, so like it's pretty chill. But I also got a book in the mail a couple days ago, which I'm very excited about. It's not like that exciting really, but I've been waiting for this, but I did not realize how thick this book is. Like I opened up the package for this and I was like, how many pages is this book? Because it is so much thicker than I thought it was gonna be. And that is European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman. So this is the second book in, I don't know what this series is called, but the first one is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, which I read last week and I really enjoyed it. So obviously I had to pick this one up ASAP. I bought it off of Pengo and it's like a brick. Like I just wasn't expecting it to be so thick, because the first one was like a very average book length. It was just like 400 pages, but this one is like 700 or something. It's 706 pages, which is fine, but it took me off guard a little bit and I just think it's funny. So now I think that's everything that I had to update you on. I know this has been a very long update. I'm sorry, but I do have, you know, big reading plans for today. Chill reading plans, but big reading plans, because I want to listen to a lot of my audiobook when I read my graphic novel. It'll just be really nice. Let the reading commence. My goal for today is to finish the readathon, like get all the prompts for it, which I definitely think I'll be able to do. So that'll be really exciting. So let's get into some reading. is now, no, what day is it? It's Monday. I don't know what I was going to say there. And I have finished my readathon. I did complete all of the prompts for my own readathon, which is always good. But I'm here with an update because I have, again, finished 3 books since the last time I talked to you. I feel like I need to do these updates more frequently, but yesterday I don't know where I was going with that, I just didn't. But, you know, let's talk about them. First of all, I did finish my reread of Garlic and the Vampire, and I had, obviously, such a fun time. If you guys don't know what this is about, this is a little graphic novel that follows a bunch of anthropomorphic vegetable people. It's very cute. And one day they discover that there is a vampire living in this castle on the hill, and they take it upon themselves to kind of figure out what's going on. And obviously they decide to send Garlic because theoretically the vampire should not be able to go near her, but Garlic is a very anxious bulb. She is very scared. She doesn't want to do this, but she ends up plucking up the courage to go confront this vampire, and I just love it so much. It's just adorable, and every time I'm reminded of how small Garlic is. It just makes me so happy. So I loved my reread of Garlic and the Vampire. It was really good. Then I also finished up The Ravenous Dead by Darcy Coates. I finished this one up on Saturday night, I believe, and I really enjoyed this one as well. I thought the mystery that we were solving was really interesting. I really liked some of the situations that our characters got into. Like at one point, the kind of 3 main characters that we're following had to go on this camping trip to visit basically the murder shack of a serial killer. And I just really enjoyed the departure from this town that we've been in for so long. It was just kind of something different in the plot that I enjoyed. I also really enjoy the fact that our main character Kira can see ghosts, but she can also, if she goes towards a place where a murder happened or somebody died, I guess they don't have to have been murdered. If she goes near a place where somebody left the earth, basically, she can kind of get a vision of what happened. And the way that that was used in this book was honestly kind of terrifying because they are investigating a serial killer who killed like 40 women or something in this shack. So when Kira showed up, she was just being bombarded by all of these memories, and it was honestly kind of harrowing. Like a really cool storytelling element, but watching Kira kind of gain this knowledge and just have to deal with it is insane, honestly, because that is a lot of weight to put on one person's shoulders. But overall, I feel like I don't have much else to say about it aside from the fact that I really like it. I'm thoroughly enjoying this series. I feel like the more that I read, the more that I really like the characters that we're following, the more I really like the overall vibe of this series. I'm definitely going to be reading the 3rd and maybe 4th books in October. I would like to maybe just finish what's out of the series so far. I did find out that the 5th book comes out, I think, early next year, so I figured why not just, you know, binge the rest of the series so I can be ready for that one when it comes out or when I want to read it, whatever. And then I read yet another book yesterday. Also, if you can hear a chainsaw going on out there, just consider it Halloween ambiance because I think somebody's cutting down a tree across the street. But I needed something short to read during the last few sprints that I was doing for my readathon yesterday morning. So I decided to pick up Phantom Pond by Juno Black. Here's the cute little cover on my Kindle. This is a short story that is in the Shady Hollow series and is the Halloween short story. So I knew that I wanted to read it, and I think one of my patrons said that they were reading it, and it reminded me that I wanted to read it for Halloween. So I figured this would be a good time to do it. Also, the ebook was only 99 cents, so I was like, yeah, why not, you know? And I really enjoyed this one. Again, I don't love Shady Hollow. I didn't love the first book. I thought it was kind of fun, but I definitely had like some issues with it. But I think reading like a 50-page short story, I definitely enjoyed. And I think there's also a holiday one, like a Christmassy type of thing. I don't know if it's Christmas necessarily because this one wasn't necessarily Halloween. I think they call it Gate Night, maybe, but it is basically just Halloween with a different name because you have all of these little critters going out trick-or-treating, they decorate with pumpkins, everything's very spooky, which I definitely enjoyed. I feel like the ambiance of the first like 20 or so pages very much into. Very Halloween-y. If you want a short read for Halloween, I think this one is definitely fun. It's nothing like that's gonna blow your mind. It's nothing that I really loved, but I enjoyed it for the vibe. But basically we're following our main character that we followed in the first book, whose name is Vera Vixen. She is a fox and she is a reporter. So if she gets wind of any strange happenings in the town, she does kind of take it upon herself to look into them. And the morning after Halloween, she finds out that one of the kids that was out trick-or-treating the night before has gone missing. So she's trying to look into that a little bit more. Obviously they're trying to find this child that has been snatched, and I kind of enjoyed the mystery. I thought it was a fun kind of subversion of what you might think it is going to be, but I just didn't love it. However, it is only 50 pages, so it's definitely a very short read. I definitely enjoyed my time, but I will probably never think about it again, honestly. But despite that, I will probably still read the Christmassy short stories, so there's that one. I feel like I've been completing so many books in this vlog, but I don't think I'm gonna complete anymore. I think I've read 6 in this video, and I think I'm gonna cap it at 6 because that's a little crazy. But I'm not finished with the vlog yet because I do still have a couple of things I want to do. I will probably end the vlog tonight though, so this is the last day of this video. But also, I have made some progress in The Two Towers. I'm up to page 543. Which means I'm like 130 pages into this book so far. And truly, I don't remember why I said The Two Towers was my favorite out of the 3 books of the Lord of the Rings, you know? I've been enjoying it, but I don't think it really compares to my enjoyment of the first one. Like, I know the first one was slow, but I kind of liked it for that reason. But I must say, the audiobook is phenomenal. I love Andy Serkis's narration. It is so, so good. I have been only listening to this on audio while I've been working on my puzzle, and that has been a top tier experience, honestly. I'm also really close to finishing my puzzle, so I'm thinking I want to continue to listen to my audiobook. I'm not gonna finish it because, you know, it doesn't look that long, but it's a dense book, honestly. Which is obviously fine, but I'm just not going to be able to finish it in this video, which is also fine. But I'm going to continue to listen to my audiobook while I finish up my puzzle today, which I'm very excited about. I'm getting very close to the end, and obviously I will show you guys what it looks like when it's finished. Also, the tree noises are getting louder. I don't honestly know if my mic is picking it up or not, but just in case, I'm going to end this update here. But plans for today, I'm going to listen to my audiobook of The Two Towers. I'm going to also probably go to the library. I know I have a couple of holds that are ready, and they're books that I want to read soon, so I should grab those. And I'm going to hopefully finish my puzzle. So that's the plan for the rest of the vlog, so let's just get into doing all of that. Hello, everybody. It is later in the day. It's like 7 o'clock now. Honestly, today, so beautiful. It was a high of like 60. The leaves are changing and they look beautiful. I just had such a lovely time when I went out earlier today. It was so good. And I hope this means that we are done with the 90-degree days because we had some of those last week. And that's not cool. Anyway, when I went out, I did go to the library, like I said, and I picked up some holds. So I thought I could show you those. Honestly, they're not quite as interesting as I thought they might be because only one of the things that was on hold was a book. Because I got some DVDs. I got season 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I started this last year and I never continued it, so I'd like to continue it. And then I also got Casper. I don't know if this is the one I was thinking it was, but I could watch this one. It's kind of spooky, kind of fun. And then as for the books, the book that I had on hold was The Twisted Dead by Darcy Coates. This is the 3rd book in the Gravekeeper series. I cannot wait to continue on with this series. I'm having a really good time. I'm hoping we get to learn even more about Kira and her past and all of that and the people that are coming after her, because there is definitely a little bit of expansion on that in the last book that I read, so I want more. I need more. And then I was looking around in the stacks and I saw that they also had The Holodead there, which is the 4th book in the Gravekeeper series. So I was very happy that they had this because I will also hopefully be reading this one in October, maybe. I'll probably save this one for the last week of October. I feel like, you know, it's just a good spooky series for the season. And I really want to complete what's out of this series before the end of October, just because if I don't, I feel like I'm not gonna complete it. So I'm gonna give myself an arbitrary deadline for it. So I'll finish these. And then I'll be ready for the 5th one when it comes out next year, which will be very exciting. So those are the couple of holds that I picked up while I was out. I also finished my puzzle earlier, which was the most unsatisfying experience because, as you guys saw, I did not have the final piece. When I was done with the puzzle, I was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, wait, what's going on? I looked everywhere in our breakfast room to see if I could find that damn puzzle piece, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, all right, fine. I needed to film something else in there for like a different video that I need to do, so I had to put the puzzle away. And then literally 3 hours after I finished the puzzle, I found the piece. I found the piece. Like, I'm very happy that I have all of the pieces, so if I want to do it again, I will be able to do that. But, oh, it's so sad. But I will be doing another Bramley Hedge puzzle within the coming months because I do want to do the winter version of it, although I did love the autumn version of it. It was so cute. If only I could have seen it in all its glory, but it's fine. I can't get into it anymore. We can't talk about it, okay? But I did do that, and I listened to my audiobook for The Two Towers. I don't know where I am in it. I think I'm like a couple chapters away from being at the halfway mark and like where it changes like perspectives kind of. So I'm very excited for that, and I will continue to kind of just casually do my reread of The Two Towers, probably via the audiobook. But seeing as this is the end of the vlog, we do need to wrap up everything that I read this week, which was all these. Granted, you know, a lot of these are very short. A lot of them are also rereads, but I find rereads to be so cozy, especially these. Like, if I like a book enough to reread it, obviously it's going to be a great time. And I ended up rereading 3 books this week, and I'm rereading a 4th as well. I think I'm putting myself on a reread ban for the rest of the month because I want to read new stuff, you know? Like, there's so many spooky books that I have that I really, really would like to read. So no more rereads. I'm calling it right now. So I'm just going to start from the top. The first one, obviously Phantom Pond. Not a favorite, but I did like the spooky atmosphere, and if you're looking for a very short story for, you know, reading around Halloween, I'd recommend. I also read The Ravenous Dead, which I really, really enjoyed. Definitely very excited to continue on the series. I reread Garlic and the Vampire, a favorite, a classic. I love her. Then I also read A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, my, honestly, new favorite T. Kingfisher book. It makes me so excited to continue some of her longer books because I think that's how I need to continue to try out T. Kingfisher books. I did borrow Sword Heart from the library, although I am a little bit tempted to wait until it comes out because I think that's the indie published version, and it is getting traditionally published, I think early next year, and the cover is kind of stunning. So I'm like, should I just wait for that? I don't know. But I do also want to read the Saint and Steel series, I think is what the one that has Paladin's Grace in it is called, so hopefully I will read at least one other T. Kingfisher book before the end of the year. Either Sword Heart or Paladin's Grace, I don't know which one. Let me know if you guys have a preference, if you guys have one that you would recommend to me over the other. I'd love to know. Then I did my reread of Fangs. Honestly, if you guys like vampires, if you guys like werewolves, if you guys like supernatural things, you should check out Fangs. And then I did my reread of the XX, so those are all the books that I read this week. It looks like a lot, but it doesn't feel like a lot, so, you know, do with that what you will. Anyway, that is the end of this video. This is the end of the vlog. I would again like to thank Skillshare so much for sponsoring this video as well. If you guys are interested, I will have a link to them down in the description, and the first 500 people to click that link will get their first month of Skillshare for free. I also would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. Obviously, I did my October readathon during this vlog, and it was so fun. Like, this has to be my new favorite readathon that we've done. I just had such a nice time, and I'm already planning for the one that we're gonna do in January, so if you want to come join us, that will be linked down below. But I think that's everything that I needed to share with you in the outro of this video. I hope you all are having an amazing Monday or whatever day it is that you are watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one.